welcome back for another episode of the Financial Griot, where we are finally back together for this time of the year to do a mid-year review and a look back to see how this year has been for us. I know it's been a struggle for a lot of people, record high inflation, gas prices through the roof, and on top of that, we're still dealing with 2 years worth of pandemic. So I don't know, it feels like we're a long ways away from 2019 at this point. A lot has changed. A lot of things are going on. So if you are going through some stuff right now, please take the time out, take a deep breath, do the meditation, do the inner work so you can actually live a more fulfilling life, because it's getting trying for all of us. So with that being said, my name is Lawrence Delva Gonzalez. On the internet, I'm known as the Neighborhood Finance Guy, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts who are here finally, because sometimes you don't see Alana. She out there in the streets, might be for the streets, and also lovely. So I'm gonna pass it over.
Quick, huh?
Hey, you got to answer to why you haven't been around.
I can't. What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of TFG. My name is Alanta Elson, one of the co-hosts. I'm excited. We haven't been together in quite some time. Well, yeah, we haven't recorded together in quite some time. We're constantly in communication with each other, but yeah, I'm ready to let you guys know the recap of my mid-year. What's going on with me? How are you, lovely?
I'm doing pretty good. In light of everything, I think I'm actually doing damn good. Well, can we say damn?
Ooh, did we get to the point where Lovely starts using these words? Oh man,
this is a second drop you did.
We are corrupting her out here in these streets, man. Corrupting her. This year has been tough for Lovely. What's going on? Yeah. Who wants to start off with their year? Like, give us like a full breakdown, because we haven't been around.
I should start, because I think my year has been the craziest.
Yeah. Okay, hey, it's not the victim of Olympics here, but go ahead.
you see, this is why I can't. Okay, I'll go last, Lawrence. You go ahead.
No, you go ahead. It's like you're trying to. Hey, I had the worst. No,
I just think it's like the most craziest. So it's just like, let's get that over so we can at least end it with some positive notes.
Let's rock it. It's better than Atlanta's chase for the ring. Looking like Jennifer Lopez out here chasing for the ring.
Who's chasing for a ring? Oh. You know what? Go ahead, lovely.
See, Atlanta, just tell your boo not to listen to these episodes, because
I've been avoiding those conversations all the time. He's been trying to tell me to send him the thumb. Nah.
Right.
He subscribed, still haven't listened to. I'm like, nah. You don't need to listen.
You don't need to listen. No, but this year I turned 31 this year, which is pretty dope. I was
30,
like, oh,
30.
Wow.
Woo!
Yeah. So I was just like, okay. And I think because, like Lauren said, we kind of lost 3 years in a way. Like it wasn't that we lost it, but it's very different from what anybody expected. I think you probably got out 2019 going into 2020 like, yo, what's up? And then 2020 was like, whoa, what's up? Not what we expected. And in 2021 we were very in that still awkward. Like, what are we doing? Are we outside? Are we whatever? And in 2022, it's kind of like there was like this big sign that said bump COVID, even though COVID has fully happened and the hospitals are still overfull. And COVID did really exist, and it still does. But then I think as a society, we're just like, well, this is the new normal. So the mask came off, masks were being thrown off the planes. And what we don't realize is that things could change on paper, but we really have had to reform how we live. And I think a lot of people are coming back from pre-COVID, trying to go back to pre-COVID and realizing like that doesn't exist. We are definitely a new normal. A lot has happened. But me personally, I was like, okay, I kind of got into 2022. Like, okay, I got some rhythm from 2020, 2021. I learned so much lesson. I'm like, this is about to be go time. And it was go nowhere. Everything I touched, I was like, business, fail. Touch this, it's not gonna work for you either. And I think what was like probably like April, like January, February, March were kind of hard, but they're like more so internal. But then April, my mom had another stroke, and that really kind of started to play a toll, because the stroke she had wasn't here in the States, it was in Haiti. So that means we had to do emergency evacuation. I had to figure out how I was going to get her on the plane. She was in a remote area. Like all the things that I warned her about in January when she went was like reality in April. Like, hey, are you really okay? Because if you're not okay and something happens, it's going to be a strain. So we spent a good amount of money to make that happen. We did have a level of insurance, but that insurance sucked and they didn't come through. So it was like, we're looking to like get reimbursed for some of the stuff, but it didn't come through, which meant that if we didn't have it, my mom 90% probably would have passed away, because when they did the stroke, like the blood clots and all this other stuff was going on with her. So that was kind of like a wake-up call about just everything that you do and everything you prepare yourself for. There's going to be things that you can't prepare yourself for. So you get the call at 4:00 in the morning. This is what's going on. Her sugar was at 550. And like, that's not good. If you don't know anything about medicine, like your sugar should be less than 120. So it's 5 times the normal range, essentially. And her blood pressure was like over 200, over 100. Normal range is 120 over 80. So it was a really bad situation. But we got her here. She was in ICU, all that's going on. But that also means that I'm the oldest, which means that I have to then show up in different capacities. So I was sick, which meant I couldn't leave. I didn't want to like give her COVID or anything or flu. So I had to kind of like liaison things to the phone, et cetera, for 2 weeks. Then they had to move her to rehab. So then I ended up having to be in Florida for like a whole month. So you got to understand where my business is at is still in very foundational startup layout zone, which is different from if you had a mature company. In a mature company, you essentially would be having somebody plug and play. That would be your ops person, your strategist, or whatever else. When you're in startup, every single day is a day that you're putting work towards so that you can become mature. So you have to understand it's like having a 2-year-old versus having a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old. Your 15-year-old, you could be like, there's groceries here. I taught you how to cook. You'll be okay. You can't do that to a 2-year-old. And so in a business, there's pretty much phases of maturity and growth. And when you are in that infancy stage, every day counts, every mistake, it seems more magnified because you're trying to figure out, is this even viable? If it's like, it's like a fetus. Is it viable to even become a full child, et cetera, et cetera? And because we were in that phase, that hit us really hard. Now, if you were in a mature place in your growth process of business, that happening to me as a CEO wouldn't have affected the company in a massive level because we would have had a bit of maturity, but we're not. So it took a greater impact. However, here's the thing. Because of the type of person that I am, I also kind of take it as, okay, learning lessons. What can we do better next time? Blah, 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 blah. But in the midst of that, I'm like 2 weeks into caring for my mom. I'm getting a little bit rhythm. This is a new normal for us for a little bit. I get a call from my dad. And the minute like the phone was ringing, I knew like my dad's calling me. It's a time that he don't call me like this often. Something is freaking going on. But I didn't know like how bad it was going to be. And then it was like, oh, your uncle so-and-so got kidnapped. I'm like, kidnapped where? Like, I'm out here like, you real confused. And they were asking for ransom for over $500,000 USD, which means US money. And I looked at the phone. I was like, this must be a joke. This must be a prank. I know it's not April Fool's anymore, but something must be going on. And my dad was like, no, this is dead ass serious. This is what's going on. And so in that space, you kind of have two choices. Either you negotiate or you pretty much leave your person to not be alive anymore, because that's kind of like the reality of it. Because at first you're thinking, how serious is it? Is it some local person that just picked them up and kind of roughed them up? Or is it really like a full behind gang that's, regulated? And when we realized, no, this is a full on gang with operations, this became something more serious. So there was back and forth negotiation, and in total, it came out to be probably close to over $20,000 US that we had to give for human life. And I think when you see those things in movies, I like to watch action movies and I like to watch those type of movies. It's not the same when it's real. It's not the same when you're contemplating, do you negotiate with terrorists or not? You know how the U.S. has that policy, we don't negotiate with terrorists, because if you start doing that, it becomes like a reality that people are going to start taking Americans all over because it becomes a norm. So now my uncle has to relocate, has to change his life. And everything has to change because you can't do that once, because everybody was in agreement. If we do this, you cannot stay in Port-au-Prince. You can't live there Because what are we doing? Paying ransom every 2 months for you because you look like you have money and you don't, you know? And as a family, we had to kind of reconcile and fight those things. And did we make the right decision? I don't know. Could you have pushed the envelope and said, you know, maybe we take a stand for a greater cause, but then do you lose somebody's life for a country that has no president, that has no direction, that has no justice? And why was it so hard for me is because 2 years before this year, my uncle was murdered in the streets of Port-au-Prince, and there was no investigation. And because he carried a weapon for him to protect himself, they were like, he must be one of those people in the game. My uncle was on the game as a pastor. He was doing his thing. He had a regular job. He had it because the way the country is. And he passed, and his blood spilled on in a pavement for a country that did not care. For someone that, when I was doing Love and Care, he was a co-founder that has fed people, that has cared for people, and that person dies and nobody blinks an eye. And so there was a lot of emotional things that was coming up for me. And so it was just a lot. Like, and my cousin died, and she was 36, and she leaves 2 children behind, and no one knows why she died. Then somebody else died. I'm actually having a funeral the next week. But even with all of that, I think I'm doing pretty well, because I didn't lose my mind. I didn't melt down. I literally gave it back to God, because who the hell am I? Like, I am a person, but like, am I in control? Like, for real? Like, do you really have the power that we think that we have? We have some, but a lot of it we have to give back to God. I can't control everybody's life. I can't control who gets to live and die in what second and what happens. I get to control how I react to it. I get to control how I go to it. I do speak. I am a little bit more aggressive this season than the usual. I am, because I'm like, I had realized that, okay, am I really living, and am I also giving it my all? Because I think I've been coasting in a way. Like, I've been working hard, but I'm like, am I putting the right energy in the right places? And I also realized that I don't speak up as often as I should. And I contemplate whether, if I say this, it's going to hurt so-and-so. And I'm very like careful in that way. But in the same time, like, I got to feel too. I got to be okay too, because I'm that person that's okay for everybody else. Like, everybody comes to me, whether it's friends, family. Like, if there's a problem, I'm getting the call. Well, who the hell gonna be there for me? Like my little boo thing. But if you're listening, I really, it's you be there, but you understand what I mean.
Faces we just made.
Like, but regardless, it's like, I have to realize I have to also live. I have goals and I have ambitions. I went back to school for MBA, and everybody thought I was crazy. Everybody, like, Lovely, you got too much going on. But it's something that I've always kind of had on my list, and I kind of passed it, like, oh, I'm going to get it one day. Maybe not. And then I realized, why are you not getting it now? Because business is still in the scaling mode. You're still trying to figure out some things out. This is a perfect time. If there would be any time to do it, you don't have children yet. Going to school with kids and all this stuff would be a lot harder. And I realized, okay, let me do it now. So I did. And matter of fact, I got all hundreds. Like, I literally am everybody's like, grad school is really hard. And I'm like, it's not as hard as I think. I'm taking 4 classes and I'm acing them because I realized taking the classes were good for me, because I realized I actually know my stuff. I think that was another thing. It affirmed to me that, like, all my professors are like, we've never seen somebody do something the way you're presenting it. Like, what do you do? And it's like, well, I actually do this for a living. I actually know what I'm doing. And I think I sometimes quiet myself because I don't want to come across arrogant. And I realize I can't do that, because there's a reason why I have the knowledge. There's a reason why I have the experiences, and I downplay them too much. And I think that's also one of the reasons why I haven't seen as much success as I could, because I don't stand in who I am. But that's all to say, that's what the last 6 months were and all my learnings. And I'm gonna shut up now, because I think I've been speaking for like 20 minutes at this point. Okay, Alana.
You have been speaking for a bit.
No, that's
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's incredible that you're making it through, pushing through. and getting to the other side and still managing to reach your career goals as well. And you didn't mention about the summit that you have initially scheduled, then it was rescheduled, but everything is
all
still
of that.
pushing through.
And I had to call like 20 people and tell them like it's not gonna work. And then I really will shut up after this because Atlanta brought it up. I had to learn, like, every vendor was so understanding. Every vendor gave me grace, and there are people that told me, Lovely, I don't care if you do it 2 years from now, I'm gonna show up. I don't care if you reschedule again, because I believe in what you do and how much you've helped me. Like, that to me was powerful, because sometimes you think what you're doing is minimal, but it's not minimal to somebody else. And so, and I was okay, because I felt disappointed and I felt like a failure, because that was also the feeling that I was wrestling with. Like, man, I failed. Like, this is not working the way I thought it was going to work. I really thought it's going to work really quickly, and it's not working. And it came to a point like, well, maybe it's not supposed to work, but it's supposed to work something in you so that you could do the thing that's actually going to work. So this is all part of the process. So relax. Like, I woke up that one morning and I really felt like God. Like, I don't say that often, but like, I really felt like God put this thing in my soul, because I woke up saying it in the weirdest, crazy, supernatural way, where you don't fix everything at once. You cannot fix everything at once. And so I had to like pull back. Like, take time, bro. Chill. You're 30 freaking one. Bro, relax.
I think everyone needs to relax. I think that's an environment and climate we are on right now. Just relax. Try to do the best that you can in the midst and the chaos and the confusion of it all. It's relaxation. Woo.
Oh, and plus I became a U.S. citizen. Now I'm going to shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I have all my stuff official.
They let everybody in.
You know what's so crazy?
They're out here giving answers.
I can't. My immigration officer was so nice. And you know what? She came across her desk and she hugged me. She's like, I want to hug you because I really believe you're going to be a future billionaire. She's like, I don't know why.
Yeah, we need to find out who she is, because she out here giving hugs and stuff like that. She ain't about that life.
Yeah, you know what's so crazy? Everybody else was so serious. Like, everybody like took their jobs A1. Like, this one guy was like, what are you doing here, ma'am? What is your words? I was like, okay, sir, here's my paper. Here's everything. But she came across the desk. She's like, something about you. She's like, I just want to be able to, because she's like, can you write your name somewhere? She's like, I know you're going to be great. Like, I know. She's like, let me hug a future Black billionaire. And she just gave me this really sweet hug. And I was like, I don't think this is supposed to happen, but that's exactly how it happened.
Very professional. Yeah.
Like, let's get her out. Let's get him in. Somebody else in. She gone soft.
That's funny. I'm super proud of you, lovely citizen of the United Ratchet States. Welcome to the madness.
Wakanda forever.
No, but like, how you guys are doing? Yeah, everybody heard my crazy.
You lied.
Let's ease into some more positivity, because I feel like mine's just like bad. But I became a U.S. citizen though.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You still push it through and saw it through, and I'm extremely proud of you. Everything that has happened, and even with your mother, the passing of like different family members and stuff, you just kept at it. Just to, I guess, since I'm speaking, do a recap for myself. So 2022 has been an interesting year, the first quarter. Lovely mentioned that she's been coasting a bit. She's been feeling a little coasting, and I can say that for myself, similar sentiments. It's because it was a coasting feeling. We were doing the podcast, everything was just working out. I had this sort of a schedule, early in the morning workouts and just going to work, dating, what Lawrence would say out here, doing all these things. And I just figured that I needed to double down on the most important thing for me was my skill sets and career goals. As you guys know, well, the audience didn't know, we haven't spoke for a while, but I have been studying for my CPC, which is Certified Professional Coder, something I've been speaking about for quite some time. I decided to just, green light it and to push forward with it. But even in the midst of that, it's just been a whirlwind simply because this happened in April as well, in the middle of lovely family issues. I was having my own medical issues because back in 2016, there was a lump found on my breast, and it was something that I knew of, right? And it was benign, and it wasn't anything that, the medical practitioner couldn't do, taking mammograms just to kind of scan it, make sure it was okay. But entering the first quarter of 2022, that lump actually got bigger. So, and it was actually causing me pain. So in the middle of that and trying to study and trying to date, trying to do all these things, I was worried. I had to kind of like sit back and think about my mortality, think about the things that I have done in my life, think about things I still want to pursue and aspire to do. And I thought about the worst. You don't know the diagnosis or the prognosis of anything. You just like think about the worst thing. And that was really my moment, because I felt like, I'm only 32. What if this happened? What if this happened? What if I have to go to chemo? And all these things just going through my mind. And I recall calling Lovely. She was here in Florida during that time, and we met up. And I just knew that at some point or the other, God wouldn't have led me this far to allow this to just be my final destination. I just refuse to believe that, because the people that have been placed in my life and the things that I have learned from my social circle with TFG, my crew, with my best friend, and people that have continuously inspired me, I just know this wasn't my final destination. And it's the hardest feeling when you have to go to work, you have to date, you have to kind of work out and do all these things. And the thing back of your mind is like, something is wrong with me medically, and I had to kind of take a step back and realize that if this is my last time, last day, last moment, what do I want to do tomorrow? How can I accomplish my goals for the next 5 years or 10 years, even if I have that amount of time? So I'm just happy that I have my circle with me, my family with me, and my friends to kind of, get me through that tough time between April and May. And the biopsy, I have to give it, positive reviews. The biopsy was benign. So I have a medical cyst called fibropneumonia cyst. Was basically a breast tissue that grows just abnormally. It just grows over time. We don't know why. No one has the origin of why it does, but it just does so. However, with the biopsy, they have seen that I will continuously have to get monitored, because they don't know either it's going to stop growing or it's going to continue growing. And within that, I have to possibly in the near future schedule an actual surgery to remove it, because we don't want any issues to come from that. And it was tough on your girl emotionally, with Bruno have his own. I didn't even know cats could do this, but cats have medical anxiety. Bruno was urinating blood at one point, and he had to get a gastrointestinal x-rays. It was a lot going on with Bruno and me. Sometimes I kind of feel like, because I have Bruno since he was a baby, we have some kind of connection going on, because there was no way I was going through all these medical issues, and now Bruno going through these medical issues himself. So in the midst of me going to my medical doctors, I had to leave work early just to pick him up from the vet as well, to monitor him. And I'm just happy I have an emotional support with Bruno, and he's okay and I'm fine. But I can't really stress enough about how it placed things into perspective for me when it comes to medical needs. It's like, because I am young, but I feel so much younger than I am. But the reality is, sometimes your body is not reacting to how you feel. It is what it is, right? And I'm just grateful that I had this experience to know that I can kind of just make it through anything. And that quarter of the year just been showing me that no matter what, I just can't stop feeling and continuously to feel somber in my thoughts and emotion. I just have to keep getting up. I have to keep pushing forward. I have to keep loving on the people in my life. I have an amazing partner. I have amazing friends. I have TFG and my crew. It's something that I just don't sit down and really speak highly of too much. It's like, damn, I'm really grateful. I'm extremely grateful. So I got past that, still studying for my CPC. And recently, your girl been diagnosed with COVID. COVID got you, girl.
About time.
I went through 2 entire years. Nothing.
I still haven't gotten it. I don't think I need it.
I went through two years, nothing. I've been very careful just traveling and such. And I'm pretty sure I got it from the Backstreet Boys concert. Backstreet Boys was here in West Palm Beach, and
That's your fault. That is your fault because you went to a Backstreet Boys concert. Why? Like, it's fire. I'm not gonna say it's not. There's fire songs, but I'm like, you put yourself at risk.
It's a nostalgia feeling. But you know what? It was my fault because it was an outdoor venue. It was sold out outdoor venue, but it didn't, like, I think Lovey said it, we forget about COVID, but you're so close to the proximity around people. You're like, really close to each other. And I didn't wear a mask. So it was really, on me. And honestly, what they say about COVID is real. That first 2 days, you kind of feel, in your throat, I had the sore throat. That Saturday, I woke up in sweats. Like I knew something was wrong. Like my body was aching. It was so difficult for me just to walk to the bathroom, just to shower. I had the flu before in college, and your body aches, whatever. So I kind of knew it was the flu. But after talking to my best friend, she was like, "Hey, do you have an at-home COVID test?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I think this. If it's not the flu, this most likely is COVID." And positive immediately. I'm like, oh Lord, they got you, girl. They got me. So that was real interesting. The first 2 days just slept. The third day I was feeling better, just continuously feeling better. I am extremely grateful of my amazing partner, even though he's not here. Every time I woke up, like in between waking up of sleep madness I was going through, just continuously sending Instacart and people to my house with medicine, with soup and everything. So such a sweetheart. And I'm just grateful that I have a job that they put money aside for COVID pay. So if you're showing a positive test results, you are required to stay home for 5 days, 5 to 7 days, I think. And you are, they will just automatically just provide you with the COVID pay. So it's not coming out from like sick leave or PTO or anything like that. So I'm really grateful for that. And I'm just happy it wasn't anything I couldn't bounce back from, right? Because I did receive 2 vaccines. And earlier this year, I received the booster shot. So yeah, the first 2 days, I was really weak. I just slept the majority of the time. But after the 3rd, 4th, 5th day, I was pretty much still good. Even currently now, I kind of feel like my breathing has been slowing down a little bit. And I'm pretty sure it's because just congestion and phlegm that's still built up. But let me tell you guys, COVID is still out there. Wear your mask, especially when you're around cluster of people. That's something that I didn't take in consideration. Please, please, please wear your mask. And I'm just happy I was able to bounce back from it. But it has been a whirlwind of a quarter of the year, but I just learned from myself how grateful I am just to have so much of great people around me, great partner in my life, with TFG, and just you guys checking in on me, make sure I'm okay, my family checking in on me, and I I know we spoke about this in the past about the great resignation with people just leaving their jobs, but I am so grateful to have my job and to have the medical plan that I do have. I didn't mention it earlier, but the biopsy, even though it wasn't an inpatient procedure, it was outpatient, it was $10,000 for 2 hours, the biopsy. $10,000. I just received the claims, the escalation of benefits, everything. Out of all those, that $10,000, I met my deductible. The only thing I had to pay was $1,400. Guys, I can't explain enough how grateful I am just to have employment and to have health insurance, because it is no joke with these medical bills. For that one day, all the medical bills that I had to pay for, on top of the CT scan, I had to pay for my throat and like all these things. Woo, I'm extremely grateful. So this quarter of the year has been a whirlwind, but I have learned so much about myself and so much that a circle and great people in your tribe really makes you. And I'm just really grateful that I have people in my life that continuously just pour love into me, pour inspiration into me, and to check up on me, because we don't think community enough, and my community is everything. So it's been a challenging time, but it's going to get better. I just know it's going to get better. And I have faith in that. So that's really my recap of first year of the year, mid-year. And I will be turning 33 soon, 7-Eleven. If you guys want to donate, I'll place my cash. I'll place my Zelle into the show notes. If
you never got the jokes, the 7-Eleven jokes? No?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh,
you get a free slushie too.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, me and my partner have the same birthday.
Oh, that's cool. That's cute.
That's really cute, right?
It's real cute out there in these streets.
It's so cute.
Well, I'm gonna come in with my story. Are you done with your story? Because
yeah, I'm done.
These, like,
I'm done.
Sad,
so it's on a good
stories out there in these games.
It's on a good note.
All right. I had a great time for the first half of the year. It's been amazing. My life is great, as it always should be, and I don't know what these other people are going through, and I hope the best for them.
Ass.
Just kind of pause.
Such an ass. You see like how Brownie just looked up, like, really?
Like, really with the pause. We got to hear it with the pause, like, pause. Nah, but I think everybody has been saying, there's a similar theme around here, right? The idea that we're all going through, I guess this like last 2 years has done a record number on us, psychologically, physically, mentally, spiritually, all of it at once. And this year, for some reason, it's almost like all those bills came due. We all are paying for it right now. We are seeing it in our expenses, or even just the way our lives are being lived. Because my wife also had like a serious issue and a medical surgery that she had to go through. So to that same extent, even though I didn't go through it, but we went through it together. It's like, I have to make these drives. I watch her go through it, but I'm in some way, shape, and form, I'm very much an empath. So even though the energy in the home changes, right? Because I want her to get better. I stayed up worried, in the back of my mind. I have to be attentive to that. And I have to understand how she feels or how she's getting around. And that was rough for us. And also understand, I'm trying to coach her down that ledge of trying to become this super healed person in like a week or two, because it's going to take a time to recover. And I think that's big. It's been a very trying first half because of it. And on top of that, we also picked up a new pup. So we got the Brownie out here in these streets, and he's going through his own growing pains and waking up in the morning, peeing on the ground. I've seen more groundwork. I've been on my knees so much, it's getting weird. It's getting weird out here. Cleaning up pee all the time,
How old is he?
He was born in May. Yeah, he was born in May, so I give him what 3 months maybe?
3 months, okay.
Yeah, so he's still growing through everything. He don't even have all his shots. So we've been learning how to cope and live with him. And that challenges you as a person. It changes who you are. I think when it comes down to even having kids, I understand how people change, because your kids will force you to have a different schedule, different outlook on life, different motivations, so on and so forth. So the first half of the year for me was kind of as this struggle, as well as at the same time, like I did an annual physical. My doctor said, "Hey, there's something might be wrong with your hip," because it was always something a little off about it. And every once in a while, it'll flare up. And she could see that I don't have as much mobility due to my time in the Marine Corps. There's a jump that I did for an embassy drill and I jumped down with maybe 200 pounds worth of extra weight on top of me. I might have been a 190 plus I would say 150 more pounds. So I'm hitting the ground pretty much like I had to jump a story all the way down with an extra like supersized machine gun. It's insane. And when I landed, it's almost like my body told me, hey, make a note of this because this is going to be bad. And I could feel it at the time, but we still had to finish the mission. And even afterwards, I knew it was going to be problematic. And to this day, my body remembers that shock. The doctor I eventually went to do like the X-ray, he even said it. You went down with maybe 2,000 pounds worth of pressure. So I only thought the pounds of how much you're wearing, but how you're coming down with gravity actually factors in. It's like 2,000 pounds worth of pressure that hits right there. That even though we can't really make those discerning, like I still have to go back in for another MRI to kind of get to the point where they try to figure out, do we do an injection, a long needle injection into that area, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with anything that we do, but we still have to figure it out. So there's a little bit of tryingness there. It's not as like bad as having an uncle, that you love and care for being like abducted. I think that's a lot more serious, a lot more egregious. But also, it's just something about everybody too, because I know that this is what she's going through. So it's not necessarily a happy time. I know that's what you're going through as well. That's not a happy time. So everybody is going through this stuff, and we're all feeling it within each other. It's kind of like it's all happening at once. But there were some good times though. There were definitely some good times. We went down for my sister-in-law's wedding. So even though it cost us a lot of money to be part of the wedding party and, family band, whatever, it was still an amazing time and nobody got hurt. And that's why I always love about any trip. If you could get home and everybody's safe, A1 trip. We drove, like me and my wife, because of her surgery, we had to drive from DC all the way down to Orlando. And then we had to make the drive in reverse all the way back up, which by we, I mean, I had to drive and she had to sit on the side. But it was a great trip nonetheless, because we got to see, some of the different areas of the US and really kind of reflect on our own journey and see where we're going to go. This year, yet again, tough year. I think a lot of people are going through the ringer, especially when it comes to money. Now, I know a lot of families were already pushed against a corner. There's also the back half. We have the student loans coming due as well. So everything is coming up. And in that moment, I can only say that I'm also grateful. I posted yesterday, I don't want to be rich. I seen it. I've seen what people do with money. I don't think money is evil. I think people just like, they have money to spend, but I'd rather be wealthy. And the way I conceive being wealthy is just being happy and grateful for the cards that I have, the skill sets that God has given me, or the family, the friends, the environment that God has allowed me to live in the time that I'm here. At the same time, wealthy to me means that you're doing more of purpose and intentionality with how you spend your time. And finally, I just want to be financially free so I could actually live out even more of the life of checking out different locations and really diving in to knowing the human experience. In the end, I guess the beginning of June, we went to Quebec for my wife's birthday. That was an amazing trip. It was beyond anything I'd ever imagined, because it was just a great trip there. And just her to, us walking around and her back on her feet after a month worth of surgery, that was also dope. And we also got selected for, to go to FinCon. So financial conference in Orlando. Hey, any little win that is worth celebrating is worth celebrating. So that's all I have for my first half. I'm still working on me. I'm still figuring it out. I'm still fat. Still working on that. So we see where that goes.
I just noticed you don't have your hat or anything. Are you embracing the hairline thing?
Hey, thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for always bringing that up. Yeah,
sure. I keep telling you look so good without it. You're always hiding your hair. No,
it's a brand. It's called a brand. It's a brand. I actually do workshops with it. It's just a neighborhood finance brand. You know what?
But on your thing, you got a suit.
Yeah, sometimes, yes.
Oh, okay.
It's confusing, isn't it? It's confusing. I'm still working on me.
So let me get this straight.
I'm still working on me.
So the brand itself, you have a suit, but like you just doing the hat because of the neighborhood.
Yeah. You know, I'm still working on me. I'm still working my brand.
All right.
Lovely, you still here? Because you probably went to sleep on that. She's like, man, I don't care about this stuff. I'm dealing with some real troubles here.
No. I'm actually just listening in. I'm listening and I'm here.
Yeah, we all went through our thing, but yeah, that's I forgot to mention that our win TFG, we all are attending the FinCon. Orlando. It's gonna be so September. Much fun.
I'm gonna be taking photos with my hat on. That's what's up.
Right.
I'm just gonna take it off from the back. Hey,
I'm actually
your face.
I'm gonna bring my camera because I actually want to get some good footage for us. That's another thing.
I need to work on like a branding shirt or something. That's what Doreen said too. She's like, hey, you need to get a shirt. You definitely need to get a shirt. You need to get a hat on, like with the actual TFG or TNFG. You know,
I would love to get something the podcast with the brand, the one we have with the guy just chilling, listen to the thing. That'd be a nice shirt.
Hey, I'm down to do that. Like, hey, I'm already broke anyways. Why not? Let's just do
why
it.
not? I spent so much money this year.
Extra
500.
Every time I go out with this guy, it's like he's a good $100 on himself. Like when we went to the vet looked at me and said, "Hey, it's $200 going to be good for you, sir." I'm looking at her like, you know what? Whatever, man. Whatever. You know, you're just making up numbers.
Are you guys have insurance on Brownie?
We got insurance, but he's still getting his first shot. So there's the first time is just all expenses. All his toys. We got to go out to go get his food. I'm pretty sure we're going to be down $100 right after this conversation.
Get Chewy.com. Check it out.
It doesn't matter. It's just
it's just being spent. But that's one thing I did come out of the season. It's like having a creative outlet. So I don't know if you guys didn't see my reels. I
love it.
I
love your reels.
Thank you. I've been doing them for the sake of just having something that's a hobby, like just being able to take and storytell, like no expectation, no outcome. It's not attached to business. It's not attached to anything. I'm just doing it to have something to kind of like also kind of to wean my mind off of everything. And it's actually been really helpful because it's like, you can't always be always working, always problem solving. Creativity needs to be part of you. So I'm using it as a creative outlet.
Absolutely.
That sounds really good. I like it. Like Doreen does all Brownie's reels.
Yeah,
I think she has a good time about it. Like she has a good time with it as well. Everybody needs something that's going to get their mind off of it and just do something more constructive. Like I've taken the whole biking. I'm going back running again. So I also biked in Quebec. I biked in Quebec. That was dope. I loved it.
Yeah, the Quebec stuff the pictures look really, really nice.
I biked for like 35. Well, it had been like 40 miles. So it was dope.
Hey, LG, is the running good for your hip? I'm not being funny. I'm just
no. I'm the thing is, it's stiffness here and there, but I still have to have mobility until I get like some real good
shoes. Probably need some good shoes too.
Yep, great shoes.
Yeah, you need
not overdoing it or something, but I think that's part of it as well. Like,
and are you doing like mobility at home? Are you doing like stretches in the morning, stretches at night?
Oh heck no! You know nobody does that. Everybody says they're gonna do it, but they don't. Unless you're a yoga instructor, you ain't doing that. You're like,
it's supposed to be really good for us.
We all know that it's good for us. Do you do it? Do you stretch?
I have been, yes, because I've really been going back.
You're 31 now. You're on the way down. Mobility wise,
trying to figure out. She don't know yet.
Alana, she doesn't know yet. She's 31.
It's gonna hit her. It's gonna hit her.
I had to believe because so yesterday I did lower body, and I got off like the last machine because my quads are like the weakest part of my body because I don't know if it's like the machine that you sit on and you have to bring your feet up. I don't know what it is right now. It's not maybe it's like the section, but
for the quads.
It's like a reverse. You're talking about a reverse Smith machine, like one of the ones you sit down, a seated Smith.
Seated, yes. Yeah. So those are like I always do that last one leg day because it's like I hate that machine because I feel it. I really feel it. And so my goal is to do I do 412s, but then often I do until I can't do anymore. So I was just doing, okay, I'm just going to push through. I got off that machine and my legs were wobbly. And then mind you, I do cardio after weightlifting. So then I had to go do the run. I was running the stairs And going down the stairs, what? Confused. My body was confused. My body's like, you have not done this stuff for a long time. Who the hell are you? Who do you think you are?
It's always going to be that way. Even people that work out all the time, they're feeling it the same way. That nobody's superhuman, that they don't feel anything. They all feel it. It's just part of the process. I forget the quote that somebody stated before, is that in order for you to be fit, you kind of have to be sore. In order for you to be rich, you gotta have to be broke. Like there's all this inverted like logic. Like in order for you to actually get stronger, you have to put yourself through pain to get there. So it's always this like counter.
So, and also the other thing that I decided to do is, I'm actually going to be reading the 12-week year next week. It's on since I'll be on the plane. I'll be, well, not next week, this week coming up, actually. I'll be reading that. But one also thing I'm thinking about, like this journey that I'm taking on fitness-wise, is before, I think what made me always stop would be like, you start doing it for 2-3 months, and then you're like looking for a specific result. I'm putting in my mind, this is how I'm going to live until the last day I breathe. So there's not a week that I'm not working out 4 or 5 times a week. That's just what it is. This is the new normal. And I'm also putting in my mind, I'm going to wait to see how I look in 3 years. Like, so 3 years is the mark. So it doesn't matter what I look like today. I'm not looking for 6 months. I'm not looking for a year. It's like 3 years. You can't stop until 3 years. And remember, this is your lifestyle. So I'm trying to trick my brain. And yesterday, I worked out in the morning. And last night, my body was like, I think we can go again. We can do this again. I'm like, wow, look at you. Look at you. So it's one of those things that I'm realizing, because I, kind of kickstarted it differently with a different mindset. Because I think before it's always like, oh, I want to change the way I'm not happy with it. Now it's like, no, I want to see how strong I can be. And I think I've said that to you guys in the group. I want to become athletic. Like my goal in as much as I have all these other goals, one of my goals is I actually want to be like in a state of mind that I've actually became athletic. Like, wow, yeah, you could tell she runs. You could tell, like, I want to be one of those people. I'm giving myself 3 years though. So if y'all see me in September, be like, Lovely, are you really hitting the gym the way you were talking about the podcast? It's a work in progress, guys. It's a work in progress.
Nah, I would never even say that, because I think you're spot on how it's supposed to be. Everybody needs to look at life more as like a state of always being, not necessarily trying to become this thing or trying to get to this level. It's like, if that's, I want to be wealthy. That's what I aspire to be. So therefore I'm living wealthy today. I'm doing everything I can to actually live the life that I think is commiserate the way I want to live it. So also being active, being athletic, all that stuff. Yeah. Why you do like a side smirk, dog? Like a side smirk.
No, the fact that you're using affirmations.
Oh, shoot. All right, cool. But still.
I'm just really surprised. I'm over here like, Lord.
No,
everybody, don't let Lawrence fool you. Don't let
Lawrence fool you. No,
Lawrence has
I'm
a
happy.
soft side.
I'm happy.
Really
I'm in my mind. I'm like,
I really believe Lawrence has a softer side that we don't know about. And I think Lawrence actually cares for people.
I care for people.
I think he really does. I honestly, genuinely think like Lawrence probably be like, man, I wonder if those girls are okay. Like I can see Lawrence.
I'm that kind of person. I literally am.
I wonder if Atlanta's okay today. Is Lovely okay? Like, I really do think
like I don't know how other people live that they don't think this way. Like they don't think about others. Like they're the only person in their story. But we've been going on for a bit, and I don't necessarily want to hold up this episode because it's been a good recap from everybody. What would be your parting words for the audience as far as where we're going for the next two quarters, the next half of the year?
More positive stuff. If I can crush my one goal is getting my CPC credentials, I'm happy. But also just keep rolling with the punches, letting go of the outcome. Just keep rolling with the punches and continuously to feel grateful on every part of my journey, no matter what. That's my parting words. Miss Lovely?
I think I spoke a lot on this podcast, so I'm going to just pass that over to Lawrence.
You could have just said your part. For the second half, I'm going to live more, travel more, talk to other people more, and reach out. Because one thing to really think about a person, but it's also another step to actually call them up and say, hey, what's going on with you? Let's link up. Or, hey, how's been your day? So on and so forth. I think we to Atlanta's point somewhere at the beginning of this podcast, we don't do that enough. we don't talk to each other enough. We don't really communicate each other enough. We don't really look out for each other enough. So definitely, I'm going to try to step up my game. And I definitely hope for everybody that's listening that you're going to have an even a better half for the second half. If the first half was that great, let's make the second half even better. And then let's land on that one. Let's call it what it is, a journey. It's never going to be all perfect. It's never going to be all good. So there are going to be some down points. There are going to be some upsides, but it's just going to be the journey for you. So as long as you live in a life that you want to live, I think that's the best part.
Absolutely.
Yay. All right.
Go ahead. With that being said, like,
We are just looking at each other.
Close.
We're gonna close. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Financial Griot podcast, powered by the Wealth Builders Collective.